Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. If not, I hope it gets better. So we got another live stream ahead of us. Let me just get up the chat. Assuming that it's going to let me. Okay. Right, so we have a task ahead of us, which we started last time. Live chat. Okay. So we have, right, let me just disable some things. So what I'm going to do while I'm talking, I'm just going to restore back what we had. I had to undo some things for reasons. So last stream, we started to code a 2D renderer. Well, we wrote the shaders at least. We had the graphics pipeline. I'd more or less decided on the architecture. And we had this point in time where I saw the code from the Hazel game engine. Now, for those who aren't familiar, well, my version of the Hazel game engine. For those who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about when I say Hazel game engine, on my engine, I have a game engine on my GitHub called Tempest, which is I would say a clone. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a one-to-one clone, but it's very similar to the Hazel engine, to the point where the code, in some places, it is one-to-one, exactly the same. I wrote this back when the series came out, and the Hazel engine is written by the Cherno. So yes, we had we started great, we started implementing things, and then I had this realization that this engine that I was looking at, the Tempest engine that's on my GitHub, this engine actually has a feature where you create the instances of the rectangles, which is how 2D renderers work. They just render rectangles at different depth values. It's effectively a 3D renderer where you just see one face of a cube. Let me just sort out the music. It's a bit quiet on my end. Yes, okay, so I realized when this was you could update this dynamically, which was kind of interesting, right? Because I was like, wait a minute. Hello, Coding Banana. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for turning up today. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're having a good weekend. So what I was doing yesterday was the 2D renderer, right? And we could update the 2D renderer dynamically, which was kind of interesting. And then I thought, wait a minute. My 2D renderer, my 3D renderer has buffers that are all set up at load time, so at the beginning of the game engine's startup, which are all just here. And I don't really have a way of deleting things from the scene. And this was a big deal because, well, although you can make a game where you don't delete anything from the actual environment, it's going to be pretty tricky, right? Let's just say I don't know, kill an enemy in a game, or even collect something that's not even, if there's no combat, for example. Pick something up off the floor, whatever, well, that needs to disappear, and then we should be able to, continue on. So we're in this situation right now that I delete something from the scene, and yeah, what should happen, right? So the chat yesterday was absolutely incredible in helping me out with so many different questions, telling me and teaching me so many things. So we found out yesterday that my buffers are host visible, which means they should be able to be updated at runtime. Host visible just means that the GPU has access to them, access to all the things that are in RAM, right? So we update something on the CPU side, which is like here. Then we write to it, and through rebar and the PCIe and all that kind of motherboard stuff, the GPU actually has access to the things that we've updated. Now, when we actually run this code, which I just need to go back and remind myself what I changed. This code here, let me scroll up. It's supposed to delete an entity from the scene. And it does by a delete swap. And we also decrement, that's the word, decrement things by 1, because we have one less entity, we have one less model to render. That doesn't quite work, and we're going to try and investigate this today. If it goes really well, we might just go back to the 2D renderer because we haven't finished our work there. And yeah, so yeah, we want to make the scene dynamic. We want to make it so we can actually update things, we can actually see what we're doing, we can affect the world. So yeah, because it would be a pretty awkward space scene, a space game, if you couldn't, you know, blow something up effectively, right? No matter how poor the graphical representation of that will be. Right, so let's go into the scene and reduce the overhead of what we're doing. So I'm going to reduce this down to 3. So we're going to have 1 rock. And I think the other thing I wanted to do as well, for simplicity, well, to kick off where we were yesterday, is remove the scene so we can just see. I just want to see. Oh no, all the way around. I want to have the debug renderer representing everything for now, because I want to make sure that we have at least one graphics pipeline set up correctly. So we're going to do that. So we're just going to have the meshes, and we should see 2. Oh, let's see the thing. We need to also abandon the player, leave the player behind. So I want the free camera, right? So we want to be able to move around the scene. How do you select multiple lines of code and comment them out like that? Oh, in Visual Studios, you press Control K C, and then if you want to undo them, it's Control K U. That's how you do it. Yeah, pretty handy. Or you can do, if you want to do it a bit more manual, you can do Shift, Alt, and then press the up and down arrow keys to select more than one thing, and then press the comment key like this. That's a little slower, but it is useful for other things as well. This you can edit multiple things at once, like yeah. But yeah, we're not going to do that. Right. Right. Okay. One thing I don't know if I should mention, I guess I will. This is kind of yeah, no problem. I'm glad I could help out. This is something I've been kind of stressing over, probably unnecessarily. Whereas I should have been off stream. I did do a little bit of this. I just want to talk about this. I'll pause the timer. It's nothing crazy, but I should have been reading more about threading. I have fallen behind on that, which yeah, I'm gonna sort out. Effectively, I reached a goal on my YouTube. This is so, I don't know how to talk about this without feeling like cringe or whatever. So bear with me. Yeah, you can, I guess, do a super chat, which means if you want, you can donate on stream. Now, think of this as just like a hat I'm putting out with, if anyone is able to and wants to, they can throw me anything at all. Don't feel pressured at all. I'm not expecting anything at all. Nothing's going to change. I just thought this is the first stream where that's a possibility, that if someone wanted to do that, they can. I won't talk about it. Obviously, I won't ask things. It just feels really strange talking about this. Yeah. So we shall. So that's there. I just had to acknowledge its existence, and we shall just move on and get back to coding. Yes, Nilo, how you doing, dude? What are you doing? Yeah, I'm. Sounds slightly accusatory, kind of based on what I was talking about. What are you doing? No. Yes, so what we are doing today is we are dealing with the scene not being dynamic, and let's just run that now. So we have this problem. I think I've disabled the music, so we shouldn't hear any things. So we should ignore this guy. This guy is just going to do its own thing. But now we have a free moving camera. And we should have two. Yes, I'm probably going to bring these closer together so it's easier to see. What we want to be able to do, ignore that, is be able to delete things from the scene. And what I need to do is actually make it so it's easier to do this. So, C not being dynamic, not even heard a atom about that. Well, I'll explain once I've moved two of these spheres closer together. They're a bit too far apart at the moment, so I want to see them both initially on screen, like all at once. So what I'm going to do is take this, have this the same position, except this is now 20 pixels higher, so that should be basically they should be on top of each other, so we should see two spheres okay, so they're a bit high. Let's bring them, or I'm just, oh yeah, okay, so 20 is fine, we just need to bring them down. So let me I'll just organize this for a minute and then I'll get to that, explain a bit more what we're doing. 10, yes, do 10, 10, something like that. Yeah, so we just want to see these a bit more. So what we're trying to do is, greetings, how you doing, dude? Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I feel like my mic's a bit crunchy. Okay, so there we go. So we see these two things. That's all I wanted to see. Okay, so no, I might have to fix that if that's going to keep happening. Okay, so what we're trying to do today is delete one of these spheres from the scene without everything falling apart. Right now, we have a buffer that is host visible, and we should be deleting the second one, but if I do press 0, which is the delete key, wait a minute, that was supposed to happen. What goes wrong in that situation normally is, okay, maybe we need more objects in the scene to demonstrate the issue. So that's actually, that's fine, that's actually what I want to see, but that's actually not what happened. So we have 3, let's bring this up to 10, right? Cool overall, but really hot actually. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, it's supposed to be really hot in the UK, but it's not at the moment. Up north at least. So okay, if I delete so I've pressed 0 and this didn't get deleted. Now my question is, we should be seeing, I've reduced the amount of things in the scene, so player should never get deleted. Let's see. Oh, that's what's happening. You see that? It's deleting the last element in the list. I thought it was deleting number 2, but it's really not. Huh. Right, okay. I installed a $117 game. Oh, is that a game? Okay. For free on Steam. It's real, I believe you. It's a Warhammer 40k. Nice, bro. Hope you have fun with it, dude. Yo, the big loose goose. How you doing, dude? So yes, we are continuing on with what we were doing yesterday. So right now we have this scene where, actually, let's bring everything back up to 4,400 and just see how, I'll make it a bit more visible. I just had a thought, actually. I think I'm deleting the wrong things from the scene. But let's increase this to... Okay, so the current model type that we're reducing, I think this is wrong. Yeah, I think this is completely wrong. This idea is completely wrong. I think what we need to do is delete the entry. So we should be deleting entity 2, right? What I think we should be doing is... a little different. So let's just... Okay. Yeah, it's a fantastic name. How long have you been coding in general? So I started in 2011, but I was really inconsistent for many, many years. I flip-flop between playing guitar, learning Japanese, and coding. Three different things that I kept doing over and over again. But I really started to take it seriously in like, what was it? It was like when I started to make Wind, which was the first game engine that you'll find on my GitHub. I think it was 2017 I really started to take it seriously, but I was really bad. Like, I was also still really inconsistent. So hang on. You guys can do a lot better than I did if you just stick at it. Okay, so deleting things from this scene doesn't actually do anything, which is interesting. Interestingly enough, that... Oh, hang on, these are different models. Okay, so this is the object. Let's delete swap on these models, right? I think that's going to help us a lot if we just delete the right thing. So delete swap. And delete swap is like a really good... it feels nice to see you working regularly on your project. The guy who caused my on your project, the guy who caused my internet into graphics isn't as active. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I'm glad I could be here. Being Mr. Consistent. I think this is the issue here, right? We need to actually delete swap everything. I think they have the same. We'll see. We'll see. That's awesome, thank you. Yeah, I honestly, I'm really someone, despite the way of the world right now with AI and all that kind of stuff and coding, I still believe that if I can do it, anyone can do it, seriously. So yeah, so we should be deleting this tiny yellow pixel here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so all we get is a index out of read, out of range, sorry. And that is because of something I don't quite understand. Oh, how many's in this? Actually, that's a good point. I think there's only 2 things in here. Oh, okay, that's not right. Okay, so we didn't quite get that right, but we'll get there. So what I'm trying to do is literally just delete something that's host visible. I don't know if it's faster to make something that's oh, sorry, did I not quite understand? A product of when you're trying to get using. Oh yeah, the username is real good. Got it. Okay, back on track. So we need to figure out how the debug render is updating the scene, and with what do we need to reduce. So the problem is when we delete a entity from the scene. Let's get rid of... No, we did this earlier, right? So what's this count of model type, right? Yeah, no, this makes sense. We should be getting the model index, which is... But the problem is we end up deleting the last element in the list. So let's just look at this again, right? I can't lie, you were 2 back then. Yeah, damn. Yeah, I'm pretty old, bro. I really started to get into game. Like, I really wanted to be, do games. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? You just made me think about... There's this movie, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Indie Game the Movie. Yeah, so this is the wrong... That's not quite right. Indie Game the Movie, right? It came out in 2012. And... It's about... I don't know if you know anything about it. It's about people trying to make games for the Xbox, effectively. And as an indie game developer, back when the indie game market had just existed. And because it came out in 2012, it is effectively now like a retro game, if that makes sense. Like the games that are being made are basically retro games, like Xbox 360. If you think about that, like how old that is, because the Xbox 360 is basically a retro console at this point, right? I don't know when things go retro, but it's funny because those two games that, well, all three games that were being made for those for the internet back then, for the Xbox Live Arcade, I think it's called, and these indie games, they were like, oh, we're making a modern version of the retro games that exist, right? They were making like a Super Meat Boy, which is like a platformer. There was like a modern day platformer retro from the retro days. Which is quite funny now because like Super Meat Boy itself and the games as well, like Fez and Braid, are basically retro games as well. It's quite funny. Like the lineage, they're not modern anymore, and the game and the movie presents this whole landscape of like indie devs making a game is like a modern thing, which is like it's quite fun. It's just funny thinking about like 2012, because that was filmed in 2011. It came out in 2012, so it's like when The Big Loose Goose was 2, that game was considered like breaking new grounds and modern. And now it's really old. Retro squared, yeah, exactly. I'm watching on my phone, and I've got 2-3 days after my birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday for then if I don't see you. You'll have to pop in, and I'll have to wish you a happy birthday if you have the time, because I know birthdays can be hectic. But yeah, happy birthday for a couple of days from now. Oh, after your birthday, so you already had it, right? Yeah, so you already had your birthday. What am I saying? Okay, concentrating on the code too much. Right. Okay, so let's get into this. So we are deleting the. I don't know what was wrong with my brain today, getting all sorts of things mixed up. Right, we have models. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, Leo. I read it again. I was like, wait, I've just completely read that wrong. That's cool. I'm glad you got a cool birthday. Cool birthday gift. Okay, so what are we trying to do here? Right. What do we need to delete? That's the thing. I'm going to go into my scene code, right? And oh, I didn't restart the timer. Well, I was waffling on about Indie Game the movie, so that's pretty deserved. I wasn't really coding then. Right, so we have a build the scene entity that we need to look at. So for the model, this gets incremented by 1. If we don't remove these with the model index, which is the... So we should have like 1 less... Oh, hang on. Hang on. I wonder if I'm trying to delete the wrong thing, right? What's the player? Is the player an entity, or is this something separate? I might be getting this completely confused. Oh, hello, Matt. Sorry, I didn't quite see you there. Hi, Toby. How you doing, dude? Alright, so let's try this again, right? I'm going to press 0 to delete something. Right, that was it. Okay, so I was deleting the wrong thing, I think. Right, so if I delete... if I keep deleting more, the delete swap does a... Yeah, then it just deletes them. Okay, so it doesn't delete that, which is interesting. So I've pressed it one more time. Now it's going to crash if I press it again. So, because the array should be completely empty at this point. But this still exists. Oh no, okay. There must have been another rock somewhere else. And now I'm kind of curious. Will it delete the player, which is supposed to be this white sphere? Okay, so it just crashes, which is fine. And I think it's because index 1, this is okay, so it's deleted everything in the scene as far as I can tell. So this is okay, so everything was working correctly and I just kind of got confused, which is good. Does scene entities store things in your game? It sounds obvious, but I don't know. So the scene entities is like basically a meta struct, right? So we have a... Oh, your birthday was 2 weeks ago. Oh, happy birthday for the 7th. So it holds a bunch of indices to different arrays. So I'll show you the actual entity struct. So it's an array, right? And so we have a position index. So this tells me where the thing is. This is a model index, so it tells me what to draw. It has a debug model index because that's going to be different, right? That's going to be like, you know, if I have a cube, or I don't know, what is it called? It's a line strip for like geometry that you stand on. That's going to be different again. And this is poorly named. This tells me if it's solid or not. This should just be if solid. And these are index into other arrays. So when I want to do something like, oh, render model, you know, we have, I don't know, a model, two models, right? We have, at the moment, we have the duck and we have the rock, right? So if I want to render the rock, then it's 0. If I want to render the duck, then it's 1. And you know, this could happen like, so we have like 4,444 entities, and each one of these stores like an index into another array. This just reduces the amount of memory we end up using because instead of storing the actual model here, we can have like arrays that have all the memory in one place, and then we just index into that. It's quite fast. This is like these are called components, and this is an entity. So we have an entity component, but not system. An ECS. We have the two first letters of the 3-letter acronym. Hello, Madhu. What's up? Detry Code. Good to see you, my man. I'm doing good. Working on rigid bodies, but by myself. It's quite a headache. Yeah. I did see your awesome physics thing, by the way. It's really, really cool. Keep it cash happy. It's exactly why we're doing it. Exactly why we're doing it. TT. Did the assets have a side effect? Did the assets have a side effect? In reference to what? We're still working on what we did yesterday, TT. I don't know if you were here for it. But now we need to figure out the next problem that we're having, which is if I delete this from the scene, we need to bring this back. So we don't quite have everything yet. So we have a host visible buffer that we're editing on the CPU. And it should be completely fine. This is because the position... The reason that we're updating it on the CPU all the time is because the position changes for everything, right? So the physics engine does some stuff, and then we need to update the position, we need to update the position, we need to update the position, etc. On and on and on while the frame is running. So we don't quite have it quite working yet, but yeah, big props, honestly. Yeah, it's sick. Shadow, how you doing, dude? Yeah. Hopefully you're doing good, my man. I enjoyed the last stream. Oh, actually, let's so if I press 0 and delete something, this is what happens, right? This is something that's gone wrong. So it's a bit hard to see, but we have a rock here, right? This has gone wrong, but it's not gone wrong for the debug renderer, but it's gone wrong for the actual scene renderer. So once we bring the scene renderer in, I think we have some corruption. So yeah. So I saw that sort of void. Oh, right. That was just me indexing too far into an array. That was basically what happened. I deleted too much in an array. So yeah. I have to rewind and rewatch it again and again to fully understand why. No problem. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you are confused, honestly, just keep asking questions. I don't mind explaining stuff, even if we have some people in this chat who are like super cracked and they have like super like advanced knowledge of like an NDA that I don't know of, like we had yesterday, I literally don't mind pausing and explaining some stuff that you don't quite understand. So if there's something that's not clear, I will explain it. Don't feel if you're not understanding it, that's my fault actually. So I like to say, like, you know, I will try to explain it as best I can. So yeah. Also the crashes when closing the window. Oh no. Yeah, it's yeah, Mado, I see what you're doing. It's well, keep it up, honestly. You'll get there. Yeah, we had some really advanced coders in chat yesterday. It was really interesting. I got to steal some of their knowledge. Anyway, right, okay, so we delete this and the scene completely falls apart. But it doesn't fall. It only falls apart when we're doing this, and I'm a bit confused why. So the first thing I'm gonna try and figure out is where would that happen, right? As far as I can tell, if I don't update the position and do this physics thing, we shouldn't have any issues as far as I can tell, because these are all updating the position. And when, yes, so we don't have anything else here. It is a bit odd why we have things breaking for us. It's getting hard to say hi to everyone. The community is growing. I know. I'm very grateful. It's actually it's actually really cool. Yeah, thank you all for joining us. It's a fantastic journey so far, and yeah, let's keep going. Right. We have a scene that doesn't work. So what we're going to try and dig into is we have a VMA copy to... I think this is fine. I don't think we actually touched this, and I'm kind of wondering if I can comment it out to see. But I think what ends up happening if we do that, we just end up... everything just ends up falling apart. The question is, what is the difference between the two different loops? They should be very similar. We're not using GPU-driven rendering at the moment, so it's not like anything on the GPU is causing this to happen. Yes. Oh, sorry, I call you Toby. Yes, Toby. Yeah, 12332. I call, and then I call TT. I call TT. His real name is TT-High ZLP, which I think would be a bit of a mouthful. So yes, that's what I'm referring to. If that makes sense. No, it's my fault. That's how I learned. It's fine. Yeah. Someone out there was getting the lines of, yeah. Oh well, I don't know if there was. I don't know how much we had this this guy talking about rebar on the GPU and talking about how that worked. And someone in the chat was like, "How do you know this works?" And they were like, "Well, I can't really tell you because that's protected by an NDA. But when we were writing drivers, this is what we did." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay." I'll just accept that knowledge and not ask any more questions. So there we go. It was fun. It was fun. But we'll have more fun today, hey? Put it this way. This guy had nothing to do with rebar. Yes, it was JTAG actually was telling me. Someone else was telling me about how the drivers were working. Anyway, it was a couple of people. We had XWO here as well. It was all good. So we're getting there. We just need to figure out this particular part of why these things are breaking. So I think if I go to my yeah, so forgive me if I'm not quite remembering exactly who said what, but so we have synchronization turned on, synchronization validation, along with the regular validation layers. which I've hard-coded into the actual application so I can turn them off. It's just easier to debug. So we're not getting an out-of-bounds buffer read, which is kind of interesting. When we actually... So the instancing makes sense. We're not overflowing with our instance, if that makes sense. So we have an instance here that gets reduced by 1 based on the model type. So this is just like the model index. You know, this could be a rock or whatever. Yes, so JTag Dev has said rebar is a piece of PCI standard that exists as part of the PCI stack, and the specification is widely available. Implementing it is another thing entirely. Yeah, I think that was the thing. Implementing it. I don't exactly know. It was something like that. I was most of the chat was honestly people talking to each other, so I didn't want to interrupt too badly or get in the way or anything like that. So anyway. But yes, I think JTag actually brought up rebar, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so we have the instances get reduced by 1, which just makes sense. We have the total entities reduced by 1. The thing I don't quite understand is what is the difference. So I almost want to do a side-by-side here. I wonder if that's going to be useful. Right, I'm going to try something that's a bit odd. And because I believe these are so similar, apart from variable names, I'm going to bring up meld and just copy and paste some code in either side so I can do a diff between them. So we'll see if this might be a terrible waste of time, but well, terrible waste of time, but a waste of time. Because I want to see, like, okay, so one is getting deleted, one isn't getting deleted. So this is the debug side. We've got to remember that. Let's get rid of this and tab everything back 1, just so it's easier to compare. Because otherwise it'll be like everything's different. Okay, so that's fine. We'll leave that. And we want this, so we can see the difference. Can I move this up a bit? And that helps, maybe. Okay, whoops, that's the wrong button. Okay, let's see, oops. So what is the difference here? So we have debug here that does... Okay, so that moves the... Oh, hang on, I didn't... Oh, this is something that's brought up something. Now, if I were to... Okay, that changes. I want to change this for a minute. This has just brought this to my attention. I think I've moved the wrong thing when I should have moved the actual model down, not the collision geometry. I think what's happened now, if I do that, something else. Right. Okay, so we're gonna check something. Oh, hi, Kalia. How you doing, dude? Yeah, good. Just checking our different render loops for our different entities and comparing the differences to try and make the scene dynamic. So, yeah, we're off to a good start. I've already spotted something that I might want to investigate. So we move that down, and I want to turn on the player movement, which is found here. But I'm also just going to disable the Z, just to make this easier to work with. So we're always moving in one direction based on the camera's position. But I want to disable that for a minute, just so I can test something, which is a kind of pricked my ears. Where's the... Hang on, I thought it was here. So this is that's the free camera. That's the player camera. Oh, I need to be in play. And we're going to... Where's the moving forward? There. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this back into a... like this. Because what I want to check, what I'm checking right now is the collision geometry. I think it's slightly wrong because I've moved the actual model manually myself with the matrix. So okay, so we need more than that. Let's throw in back. Let's get back up. Let's get our scene back up to the full demo scene size, which is 4,444. And the app looks nice. Oh, are you talking about the game? Thank you, dude. So I just want to check something, right? So I was a bit confused why the collision sphere itself wasn't actually matching up with the geometry, and I think it's because I've moved the collision sphere, not the actual player model, into the collision sphere. And I think that's what's happened here. This is why we were getting slightly inaccurate readings. And I think it's pretty safe to say that this was off by like, I'm going to say an inch. I know that means nothing in this because there's no measurement system here. But we were kind of floating off to the side in like, it looks like we're touching. It's hard to exactly say unless I turn off the wire mesh, but it looks a lot better, I think. I think I moved the wrong model, so that's an easy fix that we can actually make. Because we want the collision geometry to be the base truth of everything, and then move our models that we actually play with in the game to actually be, you know, what ends up happening. So the game looks nice too, but I was referring to the app that you just used. Oh, what was it? Yeah, Meld. My bad. Yes, that is Meld. It's a diffing tool. It's there are many diffing tools out there. There's Beyond Compare. There's WinDiff if you're using Windows. This is cross-platform. I've just used Meld. I think Meld's been around for a long time, so you know, feel free to get yourself a copy. It's Beyond Compare is like, there's a few things like Beyond Compare which is like paid for, but this is fine. And if you want, you can like start merging things together by pressing these arrows. Very useful. There is git diff, and you can set up, if you type in git diff, if you've got git, you can actually get git to diff these things together. So if you have some like I don't know, git thing that you want to like see the diff of, you can actually set up the tool Meld to pop up when you're doing a git diff, which just means which is to do with you know, different files and different commits and stuff like that. It's not that relevant for me because I don't have many people working on this project. It's just me. But yeah, I like it. Other people have turned their nose up at it when I was working with people, but I like it a lot, to be honest. Meld. Anyway, so we want to move the. So we moved the wrong thing. We want to move the player, not the. Which. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. We just want to move the player into the geometry and then have perfect. Yeah, so I'm gonna have this here. So yeah, we need the collision geometry to be the base truth of things. Position is just called pos. Oops, I just got the wrong thing here. There we go. Okay, let's give that another run. Yeah, yeah, good tool, in my opinion. Okay, so it's the wrong way, which is completely understandable, I guess. I just hope it doesn't mess with player movement, but we'll see. Yes, that should hopefully go more or less inside the sphere without any issue, and then when we crash into stuff, it's, yeah, the duck is now not floating inside the geometry. That makes us a little easier. Now obviously we would want to have like a better way of lining up our collision geometry with our things, but that is going to help. Yeah, that's just gonna help, right? Cool. Okay, that was an easy fix that I've been kind of confused about for a while. What's next? Let's go back to our meld. We want to see... Oh, before we continue, though, I just want to make sure that player movement isn't disrupted by what I've just done. I don't think it will be, but we'll have to check. And also what I want to do is just make sure that the player's negative Z, like this automatically moving thing, is not going to be disrupted by our position change. That, oops, what are we doing? Let's just delete all this. Maybe I do want this kind of like as a debugger, but if it comes back again, I'll write another function that supports this. But yeah, for now, we want to always be moving. Oh yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, if I could help out with that, yeah, feel free to ask more stuff. So yeah, we are good. The collision geometry is accurate again. Great. Okay, so that was that was a straightforward fix. Right. Okay, so I might as well update the debug code here. So meld isn't 100% accurate, so I wouldn't like some of the things it'll get confused with are tabs and spaces when it comes to spacing stuff, but it's fine. It's fine for the most part. Let's grab all this. Control A, paste. See, look, now it's more accurate because there's less difference. Which is actually what I wanted to do. So, boop. Okay, so that... No. No, but... okay, so that... I confused myself and meld right there. Okay. Right, so let's move this... Is this just tabbed out, actually? No, I don't think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I think, yeah, I think this is telling me it's tabbed out twice. So, Shift Tab. Okay. Right. And yes, okay, so it's telling me that this name is different, which is fine. We have the... Interestingly, we don't need a textures. We initially set up the buffer here, okay. So we have the array. Let's try and let's try and make sense of this a little bit. So, so that has a buffer that we end up accessing after the fact. So let's move this buffer, right? I mean, these are going to be like trivial changes that don't mean anything, but if we end up in a situation where we're comparing files, it's going to be easier to try and get these more or less in the same place. Because I think it is an order thing at the moment. So scene, we have the global. Okay, so this is already updated. Then we have scene address. When do we end up updating here? We end up updating the... Is it the same thing? Yeah, uniform buffer. Which probably should be renamed to something else. Let's keep the music playing. It's kind of Ratchet and Clank. I feel like I've been on it for a while. And okay, that's going to load. I would just give it a minute. I think we're getting repeating music actually. Yeah, let me just refresh the whole. My bad, guys. It's one of these things I wish YouTube didn't have the problem with. Okay, so shuffle is on. And let's go next. Hopefully that's loading. Yes. Yeah, okay, so now we get Traverse Town. So there is no difference here apart from... such a good track. Okay, so I'm just comparing individual lines, so these are the same. All that's difference here is the name, I believe. I don't think anything should be different. So we have... Okay, so no, it's not different. Okay, so this might be the difference here, right? So I have entity index, but the scene has debug entity, da da da. Okay, so let's convert that on here and just see the difference, right? Because they should be 1-to-1, but I want to see when we do delete something. First off, let's just see we haven't broken something, right? This looks pretty straightforward. We can crash into this. Now we should delete one of these yellow guys. So now it turned into a rock again, which is fine. That's what we're here to debug. But that's fine. It's more consistent. Okay, so now why? Okay, it's just doing it more than once. Anyway, I don't know why I never got into the other Kingdom Hearts. I only got into Kingdom Hearts 1. I tried Kingdom Hearts 2, just I don't know. And I haven't played any other since. Right, okay, so let's go back to Meld. And I can't say why. So the player gets updated. That's the only difference here. Because yes, the player's already been updated, so we don't need to update it twice. And we only need to update the player. Interestingly, that has model index again, but this always should be 0. So that's. I think they're both fine. Okay, so here's the real big difference here, right? In this debug, oh no, it's the same. Hang on. Physics update array times by the size of. So this is interesting. I think we're using the same array here, but we've got 2 different structs that we're multiplying in, which is the size is different between the 2. Now that is interesting because this array has not changed. Am I reading that right? Physics update data array. No. Okay, so it is different. Okay. Whew, I was getting worried then. So right, okay. But that's what I'm gonna look next, I think. And I think everything else is gonna be basically the same. So we worked this out last. I'm not gonna dive into this instance thing. It's a bit funky, I have to admit. It's probably the scruffiest part of the render loop, because it has to deal with a lot of instances. Sorry, a lot of like arrays that have values that index into each other. So I'm just reading this and this. So this is for the materials. We don't have any materials to do that with. We just have the push constants, which is the vertices. And here we have because we do a mem copy differently, we have to do a mem copy like this instead, which is like older. I think we're gonna have to look at this guy and just make sure this makes sense. And yeah, okay, I think that's the problem child. So let's have a dig into this. Sorry, I didn't quite see that you sent me a long message. Hey, out of topic, I have a question for you. Have you ever done an object picker? I mean something like drawing all scale up selectable entities to a buffer and embed their type into an index into their final object. Color or something like that sounds like occlusion culling, so you would want to like do drawable in this case would maybe be something that isn't off by the camera, right? So the camera's looking at something, we want to draw that, but if it's not looking at it, like it's behind the camera or something, then you would want to be able to exclude that from a list of things that we're going to draw, and then yes, and then do that. Yes, I have done that. color line / ABB detection. Is that referring to your favorite thing? So for previous things. So that is something I did in the other engine, which we're going to implement soon in this engine. So to do that, I did something called GPU driven rendering, where I had a compute shader calculate a list of draw calls that were going to be then executed on a separate shader, or at a different point in the graphics pipeline step. So we have a compute that occludes things based on a camera, and that list then gets passed over to another shader then that uses that data to unpack the actual things that we need to draw, and then it goes through that list of things, and then then it draws stuff. You can do that on the GPU, but there's the downside of doing that on GPU is it has to be done straight away, and it can be quite intensive depending on how you write it. Sometimes you need like a whole bounding volume hierarchy, for example, to keep track of all the entities in the scene. Where I've seen the way it's been implemented, the way I've seen how you do it, and the way I've written it in the past, you don't have to worry about that type of data structure. Thank you guys. Bless him indeed. Right, okay, so hopefully that more or less answers the question. And to do that, you need to pass up the camera planes to a compute shader. Anyway, right, okay, let's dig into this a bit. I feel like I've been talking quite a lot. So, inted, total entities. Now, what's the difference? Because here we have another array, which is total entities, the memory alloc. Should do a space here, it's not pretty. And it's debug renderer. So yeah, if you wanted to look into that, yeah, Google occlusion culling. And that's a bit of a rabbit hole. There's that's called camera occlusion culling. There's more to do with occlusion culling. Camera is probably the simplest. I also occluded things based on if an object is in front of another, and I also occluded things based on if a triangle is a meshlet, which is a group of triangles. So if a group of triangles was in front of another, then I would exclude that as well. So doing that reduced the amount of triangles in the scene. We don't have this in the engine at the moment, but if you do want to look at that, you can look at the Air engine. It's just on my GitHub. Okay, so I hope that was useful. It might not be. That might not be what you were talking about. I hope it was. If it isn't, then it is what it is. Maybe I haven't done what you're doing, and I think I have. Okay, so 2 arrays, scratch allocator. What's this? Okay, so we have a scratch allocator. Okay, so we have this array, we push to it based on total entities that gets reduced by 1. I just don't understand why we get like 2 things being removed by a rock. Let me just press like 0 a ton. I just want to see what ends up happening, because we do a delete swap in multiple places. We end up so if I keep doing this, will we end up seeing things get deleted from the scene? Oh. So there's a lot of things in the scene. Okay, stuff is getting deleted. I'm spamming the deletion key at the moment, but I can't see something in front of me like immediately get deleted. So it'll become more obvious if this is actually going to work. Still spamming. Jeez. Okay, let's go crazy. Yeah, I think things are getting deleted. There's just a lot of things to delete. Things are. I think it's just the first thing that we're trying to delete is just not working. Okay, let's make the scene smaller. Let's bring this down to like I don't know, 10 again. Yeah. After developing in engine, game development becomes too easy. In theory. I'll say that, in theory. Yeah, I need the it's not really helpful having a player camera right now, so let's go back to our free floating camera, because that's a lot easier to use. What is mouse picking then? I might not know what that is actually. Yep, that's what I meant. I have implementation written in OpenGL, and now I'm writing a Vulkan renderer. Nice. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. Well, sorry if my writing wasn't clear enough. No problem. It's probably me not understanding it. Right, I am reading chat. The hard part is the game engine. Yeah, pretty much. If you write a really good game engine, yeah, maybe just delete a frame or two. Yeah, let's. I'm just gonna reduce the scene. So, oh, we also need to remove the thing I was gonna remove. The game camera. Bring back the free floating camera. Yeah, ignore the play. The play is just gonna go all over the place because its position is gonna be updated based on things that we're not interested in. So yeah, ignore that, because it will just float around, but we want to see everything in the scene. Okay, so if I press 0, so yeah, see 3 things got deleted there and turned into a rock, and inside this rock we have a duck. But after that, it seems like everything gets deleted normally, which is really confusing. Yeah. Don't know why that's happening. That's me not clearing up not accounting for things being deleted from an array. That's not too bad, not too difficult to fix. Okay, so the mouse picking is easy. You just need to dedicate a render target to store the object index or intro, read back into that at the end of the frame. Okay. We'll start the next frame using that mouse position. Using mouse position mouse position pick the correct pixels in the image. Right, okay. Yeah, pretty much. It's game engine development is it is related. Obviously, it's very tightly coupled with game development, but it's not necessarily the same thing, right? We can get rid of this. This is 3 things get deleted, which is confusing. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. I'm gonna make sure that we see everything in the scene. Okay, so is it always the closest or something? No, okay, so... So, does that turn into a rock? Like, it was like vaguely in this direction. No. Only one rock turns up. Oh, No. I wonder if you get a double deletion. That might be it. Let's see. We might have a double deletion, but we'll have to see. I'm gonna go on. Okay, this is the song. I thought it was a different one. I was like, oh, I really want to play this other song, but that is the song I want. So I'm looking at VMA. Okay, so that's fine. I'm just trying to parse through this code to make it make sense. It seems to be deleting everything. Why is it messing with the collision geometry? You know what I should check? It's like this works without the collision geometry. So when we press that, we get a this. Oh, we do get two of them. Okay, so if I press 0 a ton. What? Have I deleted everything from the scene there? Except for the player, which never will be deleted. If I press 0 again, that should just error out, yeah. Hello, Captain. How you doing, dude? Hope you're having a great weekend. Right, we are... What is the difference? I literally don't know. I'm just a bit confused. Right now what we're working on is trying to figure out why when I delete an object from the scene, so if I do this, we should be deleting one of these yellow spheres. What ends up happening is we have a rock turns up instead, and the spheres don't actually get deleted. So unless I press 0 enough that they do get deleted. And that is really confusing. Dealing with NeoVim. Ah, good stuff. You'll get there, Mado. I believe in you. Hopefully your NeoVim is going well, and you'll have a lovely setup by the end of it. I've recently just tried a bit of NeoVim. I'm really bad at it. Hello, how you doing, dude? Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining us, by the way, everyone. So why is this transform working like the way it is? Yeah, maybe you're right. I feel like the thing I don't understand is why are we getting the position update of a rock? I think what's happening is we're actually getting... Yeah, maybe this is a really terrible idea. Okay, so let's do that again. That's just the color anyway. It doesn't really change anything. No, that won't do anything. So yeah, we need to figure out why things are deleting in strange ways, because otherwise the scene can't be dynamic. I've also, for the people who have been watching for a longer period of time, I've deleted the songs. I've deleted the 3 versions of the song that I had, and one was half an hour long, so you won't be hearing this song as much. There's only one. Even though I love it to death. So yes, you can have a sigh of relief that you won't be tortured with that song over and over again. Right. Okay. So let me think. Okay, let's just... I'm going to press 0 really quickly, and I just want to see if the objects stop moving. Oh, okay. Right. That's what I was getting confused with. That was one of the things I'm getting confused with. So... where's the duck gone? Okay, so I'm going to do that again. We have... It feels like the this is model type 1. The model type is going to 0. Hang on. I think I might know what's going wrong. It's like the model index changes. It's like the duck is becoming a rock, I think. Neovim is too bloated. Go to Vi. I mean, I can't say anything. I'm using Visual Studios. It's probably the most bloated thing of all time. But at least it's got Copilot in. Yippee! I've tried to disable that wherever I can in this. Although I think we still have a annoying chat window. I mean, I don't mind Visual Studios. It's like it's fine. But I'm saying I can't comment on how bloated something is really. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this, right, and just see. I think everything's just gonna break, but I kind of hope it doesn't. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Let's get rid of this. And we press 0 again. Why is that there? Right, I'm going to change the back. I'm going to have to disable the skybox. It's too dark. I'm missing things. And I think I'm getting confused because of it. So fortunately everything's going to go pink or magenta. Oh, it's white. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't realize I was going to be blinding you guys. Flashbang. I kind of flashbanged myself there. Let's reduce the color. Let's white is not a nice color. Where is the clear? There it is. Okay, so this is a blue. I know this for sure. I've kind of kept this around just for this type of reason. Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna, Mado, I think you might be, yeah, so it's still a bit, I know I'm being a bit of a wimp, but let's reduce the colors again. So this would be 5, this would be 7, this would be 8. So I think it's just too bright. Okay, that'll do. Not like a grey blue. Okay, so the problem is when I remove something from the scene in a very dark scene, it's hard to see what ends up happening. Okay, so that's fine. That's normal. So I delete something. What? Where's the duck gone? So there's the duck, right? And we have a rock without a collision geometry on it now. Is the duck in here? I won't be able to see. Let's turn off lighting then. Let's simplify the scene yet again. Which is pretty easy to do. Just need to comment out all the lighting code. And oops, that's not what I want to do. Comment. And all the lighting's off. And when I ignore the white thing, by the way, everyone, if you're still okay, so when I press 0, this truly gets deleted as far as I can tell. But is there a duck inside this rock? No. Yeah, okay. I feel like if someone was listening to us and not watching, they would be like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm pretty sure we're trying to iterate using... You're using an iterator. Oh, that's true. We've got to be really careful when we're deleting something. I've got to be really careful here. Right, so let me think. Right, I want to bring back that thing again. And yeah, we're deleting something out of the iterator, but we should be doing it at the beginning. So we're not inside the loop when we're deleting this, we're outside the loop. But we have to be really careful with what we're deleting. That is true. It might be a frames in flight thing as well. That's the other thing, right? So let's see all the rocks again. Okay, so that clearly moved the rock. The rock just moved based on the position of the thing. And yeah. So what I can do is actually change the color of the debug geometry. So I'm trying to delete the first entry. So the first thing that isn't a player. So I'm going to change the color to really see what's happening. So this is the thing we're trying to delete, and we're going to change the color from yellow to I don't know, that's red. Let's do that's black. RGB, I think it's just blue. That'll be cyan, I think. I can't remember. No, that'll be green. RGB. Oh, whatever. It'll be a different color. Well, if it's not useful, then okay, it's blue. Okay, it's dark blue. That's. I was just wondering if the background would. So if I press delete. And what do we see? Which one gets deleted? So it is the... Oh, what? Okay, so this is really strange. We delete the blue, but we duplicate the yellow. Right, so I did it real quick this time. Oh, okay, so the yellow is still moving. So that yellow is still fine. And in here we have the collision geometry, which is yellow. Huh. Now I'm wondering if I made everything a rock. Let's just make everything a rock real quick. This is really easy to do. So no ducks. Except for the player. I guess I can make that a rock as well. I just want to see if I delete something from the scene. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's just keep going, Madhu. So ignore that rock. So these two rocks, we should be deleting the one. Okay, so we should be trying to delete this guy, right? And yeah, ignore that one floating around. The reason I think this is, we're only able to delete rocks. I think that's what I'm getting. Yeah. Let's. So I'll just change this to just the player sphere. Yeah, so let's just change this briefly to 13. I know it's completely redundant, but I've really got to see the if this works, then I know something's I'm getting closer to the answer. Oh hey, can I suggest Shanti has said something. I'll read that just before we start. So I feel like I've been away. I don't want to interrupt the people talking. VI is too bloated. Write your own text editor. Yeah, 100%. You've got to write in yeah, recompile the boundaries. Yes, the only true coders would do that. Boot your PC in 16-bit real mode. Yeah, who needs an OS anyway? Yeah, 100%. Shanti has said, hey, hi, can you suggest me a good playlist to get started with game development? I'm interested in it, but I don't know where to start. So game development, okay, so this is important. I'm not sure how familiar you are with what we're doing here. So we are doing game development, but this is game engine development. So we're actually making the game engine. If you want to do that, it's a very different path to making a game that you want to make. Because I recommend if you're a game designer, for example, and you want to make a game, like there should be like a good, there's probably plenty of like beginner Unity and Unreal tutorials out there. Oh, so we should be deleting the blue. So I'm going to ask you that question. Like, what are you trying to learn? Are you trying to learn how to do game engine development or game engine development? Oh, no, that's not good. Okay, so we're going to zoom right out. And this time we're going to absolutely make sure that we've... let's reduce the scene size. That's going to help us a lot. Let's make this 200. And do that again. Yeah, ignore the player. The player is... Yeah, I should actually make the player not... I should make the player a duck. So we're ignoring this. The player is doing its own thing. Yeah, no, I don't have a memory leak. I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so that should hopefully be everything in the scene. Okay, we're deleting two things at once. That's, I think, why things are going wrong. And then after that, it seems like... That is confusing. What? No, I have... I'm allocating a load of memory ahead of time. So I'm allocating a gig of memory. And then I'm allocating a bunch of other stuff. I'm adding... how much memory am I? Let me have a look. So 1 gig and then 40 megabytes of, that's for the physics, and then 8 gigs is 8 megs is for the so 40 megs and then 8 megs. So physics, and then this is for the stack allocator. I will reduce this when it actually comes out, and the rest of the megabytes, like there's about 300 megabytes of RAM being used by the actual debugger itself, something like that anyway. So yeah, this will be a much smaller. A much smaller memory footprint when it comes out. For now, I want to work with game development. Once I've got the gist of it, then game engine development. Yes, I would 100% agree with JTAG. If you, I've heard Brackeys is good. I don't really know 100% like what is good for, for game development straight up in a game engine. But yes, definitely try and make a game in a game engine. It'll give you more feel, even if you do end up doing game engine development later. You'll get a better feel for what the game engine needs to do and wants to do, etc. Yeah, my knowledge is super outdated when it comes to like what's a good YouTube series to watch for like learning how to make a game. So yeah, if someone in chat has better answers than I do, then feel free to hop in and help. Use virtual alloc, mate. You don't need to commit the to physical memory up front, but you can reverse. Okay. With virtual alloc though, isn't that for? I could be completely wrong, but when I was learning how to do this in Windows, that was the Windows allocator, right? Virtual alloc, or is that a different function call, or is that virtual allocate? Because I think what I did in Windows back in the day was I set for debug anyway, I set like a static, in the virtual address space that I was using, I would say like use this address space X and then virtual alloc from there. Yeah, okay. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about virtual alloc. Yeah, 1 LUU just means unsigned long, because this macro is just a multiplication of 3 numbers. So you end up like running out of space real quick. It's just a convenience thing instead of writing this. But yeah, you can't just put a 1 in here because this goes into 64-bit very, very quickly. Anyway, yeah, that might be something I'll look into. I'll look at the virtual alloc. Got you. Thank you, TT. Yeah, feel free to share your opinions. I don't really have good, strong opinions that are that useful on how to make a game in a game engine. Got you. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for the help. And I'm just trying to think how to do this. I think we need to also say what is... I don't know what it is about YouTube playlists. They're so bugged. Let me think. I'm going to go a bit quiet just for a minute once this is finished. Once we've turned shuffle on and we've got a different track to listen to. So what I'm thinking of, right, is it's just okay. Let's break my assumptions, right? I assume this works with. I've got to break my assumptions. I think that's the key right here, right? So I have the assumption that scene is breaking everything, and the debug renderer is somehow managing to do things correctly. That might not be true, so let's check that's actually true. Right, I see what you're saying now, JTAG. I was wondering how Casey Moritori did that. So this should delete the blue circle. Okay, so it doesn't actually work. Okay, that's really useful. Okay, so that assumption is false, what I had, which was making things confusing. So this never works. This never worked. It's deleting two things instead of one thing. So what do I need to do? Right, so if I do this and this, we delete nothing. That's an assumption I have. That's another assumption I have. Let's check that assumption. Okay, so it should, again, we should be deleting the blue circle thing. We do. But we have two. Okay, nothing was getting deleted. Okay, let's do that again. So the blue one got deleted, but I think we've got a duplicate. Okay. Right, okay, so that's not what I thought was happening, which is good to know. So that's how we get duplicates. So the models themselves shouldn't be affecting the scene. That's an assumption I think is just straight up true. So another assumption I was wrong. Yeah, I think it's like when they get to a certain length, they'll get all weird. I don't know why. So, and do we get a duplicate sphere? Yes, we got a duplicate sphere again. Right, okay, so that is the same problem. What was the assumption with this one? Maybe I should do delete swap. But I want to do delete swap. That's like convenient. No, we just get to... Yeah. Okay, so this total entities things is breaking everything. We got to be careful. This is all kind of dangerous because if we thread this code, this is very unprotected the way we're doing this. If I delete something from the scene and this is all threaded, and like multiple threads are trying to update the scene and I delete one of the entities, that's going to cause all sorts of issues. I wouldn't thread the scene. Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. I'm just thinking about this is not protected data. That's more than I was thinking. So should be size type. Shake my head. I guess I'll hang my head in shame on that one. Virtual alloc, yeah, 1 terabyte of memory. I would look into different threading models than the traditional threading models. Yeah, I want to go with a job-based threading system. I don't know if that's... Right, yeah. Fiber-based job systems are better than trying to make everything thread safe. Yeah, because then you just put in what you want, don't need to thread. I'm trying to get to that point in the book. What does that mean by dynamic? I want things to be deleted from the scene, so it's not just a static scene where everything can't be deleted. So effectively, we want to be able to affect the scene by gameplay. And one of the simplest things that we should be able to do is delete something from the scene at runtime as gameplay unfolds. So right now everything just kind of breaks and I'm kind of confused why. So we're trying to delete one entity and we get all sorts of weird bugs when we do that. So we're trying to simplify things down so we can actually isolate. So I'm just going to, for now I've said that, in the spirit of what I just said, I'm going to get rid of the player. The player is just in the way and causing maybe confusions to the viewer, but also I do want to simplify things down. What else can we get rid of? Let's make one entity. Yeah, let's do that. So we can simplify this all the way down to have one thing. Hello guys. Let me just do what I said so I can make sure I get this right. So we have 4 colliders. That's completely redundant. We don't actually use that. Now we've got to be careful here. We want to comment out. We don't want the player because we got rid of that. I just want one thing in the scene, so I want this. And we're not going to implement. So this is going to be. I'm going to duplicate. No, we will duplicate this. Actually, I changed my mind. So I'm going to comment this out. Delete this so I can do what I want with it. Change to 0, and we're going to remove this. And I think that's pretty much everything that we... So we have one entity in the scene now. Can we delete it? If you could somehow know each resource access a job. I see. Thank you, the KC. Okay, the cap. Okay, so there's nothing in the scene. I'm just making sure there's nothing weird going on. Now, when I try to delete this, okay, so I just realized that's not going to work because I'm trying to delete not the 0th entity. So I just want to delete number 0. Like, what ends up happening? Do we do? What I'm trying to check for is, are we duplicating entities? So we shouldn't see anything in the scene once we press 0. Okay, so that is moving. Everything's fine. We got physics. Press 0. Okay. So this is inside VMA. Allocate host pointer, destination pointer. And this is to VMA copy to right. And this is where? Here. And the error was what? Right, do we have like a null pointer? Okay, so we have a null pointer at this point. Right, so that's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to guard against that just for our own sake and our sanity. So we haven't allocated anything into this array, and we're trying to copy something into that array. That's effectively what that error was. Let me just make sure that if not equal to null pointer, or if valid, let's just throw it in there. Yeah, 5 had all things allocated. Okay, so right, I press 0 and it's still here. Yeah, let me crash. Okay, so that's that. I pressed 0 again on purpose. There should be one entity. It should be removed from the scene. So I'm going to press 0, right? And we shouldn't be in here at all. So this is pretty straightforward, right? 0, and then what I'm going to do is put a breakpoint in here. Yeah, we shouldn't be in here. We shouldn't be in here either. Yep. Right, okay, so... Oh. Are we in here? Yeah, okay, so we're always going in here. Debug model size. Interesting, interesting. Let me try and delete swap on that as well. Debug model. Yeah, JTag's on it. Oh, oops. Yep, so we can verify that we're in these. Yep. Okay, so we have a object. We press 0. Right. Okay, so that's actually what we want to see. Okay, that's that. Okay. We're progressing. We've got an accurate destroyer. We've destroyed something. Yay! That's great. That's great. Okay. I'm trying to delete things from the scene at runtime, which is harder than it sounds, unfortunately. But we've just made a breakthrough in the sense that we actually deleted something properly and it didn't go crazy. Right, okay, so that's helpful. Let's bring back... How do we want to complicate the scene a bit? To see if that has... what the next error is. How about we bring... one entity back? So... we're just going to have another one. And yeah, so this is the other thing. That's just going to be staying still. So now we have two entities. And I'm going to be deleting 0 still. And we're going to be... if you can't have memory leaks, yeah, exactly. You if you don't allocate anything, you can't have a memory leak. I don't know much about coding, but I'd say that requires a massive rewrite in your engine. Yeah, so I really like that idea, actually, JTag. The idea is to narrow down the thread safety code only to needing to implement a few small pieces which actually require cross-thread, such as... Right, okay, thank you for explaining that. I've used libraries in the past, but I actually want to write my own job threading thing. That's actually really simplified everything for me, so I don't actually need to worry too much about this and that when it comes to protecting data, really. If I just keep everything isolated to that cube. Okay, so we have a crash in build rigid body. Oh, duh. I'm saying that the size is now 1 when it needs to be 2. Okay, that should go away. Yeah, JTag's right. No, it's not bad to use malloc. Malloc is a tool. It can be abused like any other tool. Okay, so we're trying to delete the yellow without... Sorry, we're trying to delete the blue without yellow doing anything stupid. Ah! Okay. Okay, but at least we can delete the blue properly when there's only one entity. But when there's two, for some reason, everything goes to poop. Right, okay. We got this, we got this. Yeah, I use malloc, but it's I use malloc at the beginning. And then I mess around with that memory I've malloced for myself. It is slower than other allocation methods because it's a general purpose allocator, and that's probably what you've heard from me. Because of that general purpose allocation, it is slower than writing your own allocator for a very specific purpose. But 9 times out of let's say, I don't know how many times out of 100, but most of the time you shouldn't have to worry about that. Allocation probably won't be a bottleneck unless you do exactly what JTag told you not to do, which is allocate in something called a tight loop, where you have, like, let's just say you had 3 nested for loops, right? That's the most extreme example, right? And you did a malloc inside those 3 nested for loops, then you would be in trouble because there would just be so many allocations happening per instruction, because it isn't cheap to allocate but it's not bad to allocate with malloc. Anyway, so when we do that, I've got to figure out what we're seeing. So we've got to obviously see two entities. They both get deleted. Okay, so do we go in here still? Okay, we do. Yep. Are we in here still? So again, I've just got to challenge my assumptions. Yes. And are we in here still? Oh, yeah, sorry, we're still in a for loop here. Interestingly, we bounce back up to here. Oh. That's what happened. That's what happened. I've got this all mixed up. We've been doing this all over again. Okay, let me think. You can submit two jobs, access them at the same. This might be really simply do this. Assuming that there's nothing deleted. Give me a minute. Gotta move back. No. Model index. Model index. Okay, so this just tells me what. Right. Sorry, I'm not talking as much, but I'm really trying to think right now. That's the total number of... Right, when is this used? In the actual drawing code? Here, okay. Oh, gotta plug in my laptop. Yeah, coding is awesome, isn't it? Like, straight up, I'm not even being facetious or anything. Shouldn't there be an... that was me, not you. Apologies. A Windows sound effect. Shouldn't there be an else, if else, on line 391? 391. Else if. I think that's fine. If it's an else, then it'll be any key button. Anyway, so No, that's not it. What was it? For this line. Ugh. Let's get rid of this. Can you tell me what this was? Okay, so I'm going to use this. And just see if that helps. Because I think I'm breaking the for loop order. Oh, interesting. What was this value then? And this size is 1. Render index. Does that need to be decreased? What is this? Hang on. I think I'm starting to get there, guys. I think I'm actually starting to get there. Not the current one, but this gets incremented by 1, right? Yeah. So yeah, that needs to be decremented by 1. I think that's easy enough to do. And that is part of entity. So I'm going to move this up here because I think that's actually correct. And then we want to do debug render index, which is a terrible name. That needs to be subtracted. Equal. There we go. Okay, let's do that again. I think I have to go for a walk and think of physically based. Oh, that's physically based debugging. I don't know. I hope you make progress and have fun. Thank you, Toby. Honestly, have fun. Yeah, have fun indeed. Still not good. I thought I subtracted 1. I think I've messed up the order. When I do a delete, no. Let me think. When I do a delete swap, the order that they were created is now no longer the same. That makes total sense. Position-based dynamics. Got you. Thank you. Before the DAG, how do you define what a resource is? I used to do that by render passes, but I kind of do that basically. Now I'm going to try and do it by the graphics pipeline. But we'll see. I haven't really dug into that because there's multiple graphics. No, I don't know. It's basically what the images need to be for me. That's basically what the DAG originally set up. So render passes were like a convenient way to do that beforehand. Oh, are you talking about threading? Sorry. I didn't realize. The scheduler was relatively simple if you know how to write a DAG. Got you. Okay. Yes, you are. I thought you were talking about render graphs. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So yeah, I think I've got this problem, right, where I need to index into the entity based on something other than the array that we are looping through. This is wrong. This here is where everything's going wrong. Because I'm getting the entity based on like a random index. But if we've done a delete swap, this array is now changed completely. And the order of which things are in is it's going to pull something out differently. So how do we actually get the... With just the scene struct, how do we know... How do we know what entity is what? Last current entity, current debug index. Because we're looping through an array, right? And we've done delete swap, which means the array order is completely different now. And when we loop through array from beginning to end, the assumption in my render drawing code is that the entities still exist in the same order at render time, at draw time. But if we're deleting something from the entity with a delete swap, then the order doesn't matter. We can't depend on the order anymore. So when we pull something out of the entity with that array index, anything could be there, literally anything, because we did a delete swap. Because what that means is we take the end and the beginning. We take the end and a random point n, wherever we decided to delete from. We swap those elements around in the array. So then the nth element that we decided to delete is now swapped with the last element, and then we delete that. We pop off the end, which is easier to do than having to maintain the order, which is like we have to move like say n from the list, right, to delete whatever that value is, and then we have to move everything across, move everything down the list in the array, like to the end, right? So if we're looping through the array, we're assuming that it's in sequence, and because of that, we are actually breaking. Okay, so right. Now we need to figure out a way to access the entities that we've created arbitrarily rather than relying on the order. I hope that makes sense, but that's as much as I can explain it without any questions on specific parts. But that's what's happening, right? Now I'm going to think about how to do this. So we have a big scene struct. So it feels like the entities need to have their own ID that we can kind of access. So we want to loop through all the entities which still exist and have a struct, but the order is random. So when we pull out that entity from the list, we don't know what entity that is. That could be anything. Okay, so that's the first thing we're okay with. So the first two lines of code are fine if we don't assume that the entities are in order. A second buffer that maps entities to an ID, maybe something like that. Yeah. The ordering matters too. For write access is read write. That's rules read before write. You guys talking about something else? Sorry. Yeah, I don't think it matters for what I'm doing right now. So the first line here. So this is the problem child, right? Where are we? This right here. This line is fine, but then the assumption that everything's in order is like here. This is all wrong. We effectively need to get an entity index from the entity list itself. So this is actually quite straightforward. Yes. Okay, so this is actually straightforward. From each entity, we need an entity index, basically. So we just need another one of these. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. in the order that we create them. But then if we do a delete swap, these will remain in the actual entity itself. So these keep track of the entity outside of the position in the array at which they are stored. Okay, so that's the actual problem. I think that's going to fix literally everything if I get this right. Even if it doesn't fix everything, it's definitely more correct because again, we could delete any entity in the scene at any point, so we can't rely on the order. Right, okay, so when we create these fellas, we need to increment by 1 each time, basically. So, where's the scene? Okay. I hope this is making sense. Let me know. Okay, so we have an entity here. We build. So we need to do it in this function. So it's effectively, literally, current last entity. We could use that. It doesn't really matter. I don't know why I have 2 different loops here, but okay. So that's for the debug geometry. This is for the non-debug geometry. This is for the actual entity itself. So I'm going to clean this up a bit. The naming is terrible. So current last entity is obviously what we're on, and this is the entity index itself. So the current last entity, if this is the thing that we've created, which I think is true, this is what needs to be assigned. So that means when we go into our main loop, we can't use these anywhere. And we also have to be careful to here, but for now this is the important part. So so this is not entity index. I'll rename that in a minute. Entity index. So that's actually true. This is the true entity index. I might rename this to I, bro. I have entity index dot entity index. Obviously, this is going to be renamed now. That's why it's saying it's wrong. I don't know what to call this, but I'm just going to call it I for now. Because this is just a loop. It's just, that's all it is. That is actually what we need to use. If we do a delete swap, then this is always going to be the right thing. So I'm going to clean up the... yes, this needs to be I. Oh, actually, this needs to be entity. Just very simple. Very simple. I'm glad I caught that. So this is truly what the entity is. So we delete an entity at the list. Entity index is uninitialized. No, it's not. Let me just talk through this again. So if we delete an entity from the list, then it keeps the ID, which is the sequential ID of what it got deleted, or what it was. So let's see. Right, one, it shouldn't break, and if it breaks, then initially, like, it shouldn't like blow up. Now we should be deleting the blue, and it shouldn't update the position of the yellow. Okay, so we got a crash, but that's fine, because now we need to figure out why that crashed. I think it's because of this. Yes, I think this just needs to be entity index, because that's the body ID, all that kind of stuff. So we'll put that there. What I don't want to see is the same error. That's, I don't care if it asserts. Okay, so we got another one, and That is because we accessed an entity at entity 1. That's tricky. Okay, this is trickier. So this is truly what the entity index is, and then we're trying to index into that entity again. Ah, this is tricky. Oh, why are we trying to do that twice? That's stupid. We already have the entity. Literally here. I don't know what I was trying to do here. Okay. These two, yeah, okay, so that just simplifies everything down. Okay, so that's, I think that's even fast. That's technically faster, I think. Let's try again. You see that? You see that, guys? We deleted the blue sphere and the yellow sphere did not change. Now, if I press it again, in theory, we should delete the yellow sphere without everything blowing up. Okay, right, we're on the right track. We're not quite out of the woods yet, but that's exactly what we need to be. That's exactly what needs to be happening. Now we need to increase the complexity of the scene and see if we're actually deleting things properly. So I'm going to bring back the player, and obviously that's just going to be flying around the scene. That's just going to be doing its own thing. GG's, easy indeed. We're getting there. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Right. So the next thing I want to do is, yeah. So I want the player back, and so I'm going to bring in the player, and I'm going to add a couple of things to the scene. So we're going to have like, I don't know, like a few rocks flying around. All debug geometry like we saw before. Where's the scene gone? Okay. So instead of 2, we're going to make this to 10. And right, that's still the same. That's fine. Let's bring this back in. And bring this back in, which I don't mind this being entity 0, but now we've got, oops, now we've got to delete this. So yeah, now we're slowly moving back to where we were, but one step at a time. So we should see, as far as I can tell, like we should see a yellow, a blue, and loads of reds, and a white thing that we're not going to care about. Okay, so we should delete the blue and the reds don't move. Dang it. Didn't quite get it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Why would that happen? Why would that happen? Are you still listening? Yes. Now, we could be having the same issue. Right, I'm going to remove the player. Oops. Just because that was the complexity. We added 2 things to the scene. So let's... So I'm just going to remove the player. Why are... Oh. Comment, please. Okay, cool. That's working now. Okay. And let's go back to the scene and see if the player was messing things up. So, comment this out. Do 0 and 1, I guess. And okay, so there's no player now. The player might be doing something different. Okay, I don't know why we have a blue one. Why do we have a blue? A position 0, 0. Oh, that's why. It's not that much of a big deal. So now we shouldn't get a blue, we should just get all reds. At different points. Okay, so the player's not in the scene anymore. We delete 1, which should be the blue one. We delete 2. We're doing too many things here, I think. So what I think, what we shouldn't be doing, let's just see. What is this used for? This is the instance rendering. Okay, so I think this is redundant or bad. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that again. Nope. Okay. Let's get rid of this and just see the differences. So apparently nothing should be deleted. I'm just going to keep trying this, trying different... Okay. Right. So the blue got deleted. And nothing else, I don't think. Let's try that again. So I think that was the mistake. I was trying to delete too much stuff. So there's no other things in the scene. Delete. Now delete swap again. I don't know what it's going to delete, but it's going to delete something else. Or not. Okay. Ah, good. So it's trying to delete. Oh, no, that didn't work. Interesting. I don't mind you guys talking about scheduling. By the way, that's chill. As long as no one's getting upset and getting angry at each other, then that's fine. But it's also fine if you don't want to talk about it as well. You can also move it off the chat. I don't really mind. I'm kind of locked in on this like deleting thing. So yeah, it's you know, if it's engineering talk, then I'm all for it. I might reread some of what you've said as well and steal some of your ideas. Ha ha ha. But yeah, let me just check something real quick as well. We're so close though. We just need to get the right thing that we've done. So what we're missing here is we are deleting the right things, but we're not removing them from the scene. If that makes sense. So we just need to, if we get this, we're going to be so much better off, right? Let me just close that. Okay, cool. Yeah, engineering speak is completely fine in the chat. Yeah. Okay, so if I get rid of this, what ends up happening? I'm kind of curious now. Okay, yeah, so it just breaks. Which makes sense, because we delete something from the array and we're saying the array is this big. Total entities could actually be removed with the size of operator. I just realized. Not size of operator, what am I saying? But total entities is just like an incrementer. Yeah, we could totally get rid of this with something else. But anyway, I think we're like storing the same data twice, which is causing some issues. Anyway, so here's the thing I don't understand. Let's run this code again, right? So I'll explain it. We delete the blue. Nothing weird happens. Ah, no, there is something weird happening. we duplicate, we get that duplication bug again. Then I press 0 a ton of times, it doesn't, nothing gets deleted until we run out of things to render, and then it. So, as far as I can tell, we're still rendering as many things as. Yeah. We need this still. Sorry, we need this. We still need that, okay. Because that's the instance rendering. The instance rendering is not working, that's all. But when I do this, I actually delete the wrong thing. I delete one of the reds as well. But that is... Oh, we also duplicate there. This instance rendering code is wrong, I think. That's the next thing to figure out. Yes, I do. I do remember you. Welcome back. I know this is a space game, but what do you do in your game? I hope you don't mind me saying this. I'm going to keep the game design kind of under wraps for now, because I want to. I want to see you. I don't want to like yeah, it's about deleting balls. That's the game design. But I don't want to say like, oh, we're gonna have this in the game, we're gonna have that in the game, and then one, I don't end up doing it, or two, I decide, you know, because it's this thing, right, where people talk about, it's like goal completion. Like, I don't know, like, let's just say I want to lose some weight, and I say like, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I don't know, 1 kilogram, this month or something. And if I tell people that, then I'm, you know, less likely to fulfill that goal. So when it comes to the actual game itself, I'm kind of a bit secretive on what we're going to do, because I want to be actually deleting it. Writing it. If I start writing it on stream, then I'll explain like what specifically you're going to do. But there's going to be a couple of things I'm thinking of. Some of them I might not put in, but it's going to be a simple game. It's not going to be like a big game. I have so many ideas, though. I do have lots of things I do want to do. Where's this model index come from? That's the other thing. This is, I think, the next problem. We have this render loop. I think we have the same problem again, maybe? Debug models. There should only be 2 of these. There should be only like 2. And this is just going to loop through and tell us like, oh, in this case it's going to be 1. So we're going to only have 1 mesh draws thing. Wish you the best of luck. Thank you. I suggest path tracing, maybe. But yeah, I know it seems silly to say this, but if you join the streams, you'll eventually see what the game's going to be like. It's gonna be pretty straightforward to understand, because there's so many. This is a bit of a pet peeve I've had with game developers I've talked to in the past, where they constantly talk about what they're going to do and this and that. They have a massive game design document and they don't actually make the game. Fortunately, the people who end up doing that don't last very long. Like they have a like 200-page Google Doc on why their game's going to be fun, but they don't actually have anything to do. They don't have anything to play. So I'm trying to not fall into that trap. When it comes to coding, nothing is straightforward for me to understand. Same, to be honest. I'm not going to say that anything's come naturally to me, honestly. There's this idea that runners have, like long distance runners. They say this idea, they go, it never gets easier, you just get faster. And I really like that idea because I think in coding it's basically pretty similar. But I would modify it a little bit to, it never gets easier, the problems just get harder. So even if I can understand for loops and if statements, like easy peasy, obviously, but it's the problems I'm struggling with get just harder. So yeah, if that's what you're feeling right now, it's pretty natural and unfortunately just par for the course. Can't fall into that trap if you keep working on the engine and never make a game. Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm really trying to make a game, really, with the engines tech. Because I fell into that trap last year where I just made engine tech with no direction. It was just not a good move. Anyway, so... But yeah, it's good to talk about these things because it does keep me on the straight and narrow. Right, for now I'm going to simplify my... I'm not going to use instance rendering for a minute. I'm literally just going to set this to 1. This is going to break everything though. This is so awkward. I can't not use instance rendering. Ugh. Because my shaders are all set up to use it now. I can't just yank it out. Okay, let's see how this works. And that breaks where? Okay, so actually this is much simpler then. I have a feeling that... Alright, let's just not be lazy. If I Control Z this back, do this. Failing misery to let my triangle appear. Well, you can see that I'm struggling on stream, so I don't know if this helps you guys. Like a lot of what I'm doing, like a better programmer would be able to do what I'm doing a lot faster. So if I don't know if I've set up like a false sense of like authority, like I have like I'm an expert or something. I just decided to stream out of like a because I read a quote in a book about something which I won't explain. So yeah, like another programmer would do a lot better than what I'm doing, in my opinion. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we are failing together. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that in like an endearing way. I hope that's like motivating, that maybe I don't know what people's opinion of me are in chat, right? But if you had this idea that I'm really like a really competent programmer, then you can see that even your what you think of as a competent programmer is also stuck on a problem, just like everyone else. All right, I'm just gonna check out this idea, right? And because of that, I believe anyone can do what we're doing on stream together. No, thank you, Detry Code. No, it's the wrong one again. Alright, let's get rid of this thing, right? Maybe... We're not... That's not supposed to be interacting with anything, but... Mm-hmm. No. Okay, so... It isn't, and it wasn't, which is good, I guess, but... Still, I wish the problem was solved. Hang on. Are we worrying... Are we doing the same thing again? No. We're trying to delete an arbitrary entity at the index. I don't really care what entity it is at this point. I was playing for... Yes. Yes, it invalidates all the indices. I'm trying to figure out... I'm storing the indice in... You're talking about the indices of the array. I figured that out, which took me a while. Took me longer than it should already. But now I'm trying to figure out like how to... With that ID index that I'm storing... It's two things are getting deleted, which is confusing. And it's to do with the instance renderer. So this tells me how many instances of things there are. I -1 from here and we delete 2. And that's not really true, actually. I don't think it's true. It gets moved and the color changes. That's what actually happens. Nothing actually gets deleted. Everything's fine apart from this one issue, right? So, you see that? I think what's happening is... Yeah, the thing we've... What I think's being deleted is actually being moved to a different position. Let me look at this. Bless me. Again. Entity debug render index. What is this terrible name? Right, but these numbers aren't corresponding to the same thing. So what I'm going to try and do is get rid of this. This is a bit why did I do this? Ah, that's for solid stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this because this is doing me head. Solid or rigid. So I think we're using the wrong index, I think. And I think it's because I just called this something stupid. And this is not a debug renderer, really. This is a rigid body data. Yeah, because that's actually what it is. Although it has color in it, like whatever, but it's actually the rigid body itself. And then rigid body data, but it's not the physical data. It's like the actual position and stuff. So you've got that going on. Right, so rigid body, go back to scene CPP. Okay, so these don't exist now. And this needs to be renamed to current rigid body. Which, yeah. If I do that, then things will, I think in my head, start to make sense. Yeah, so these all don't make sense. Okay, so we have rigid body data that needs to be deleted. Here's the index, right? Current rigid body index. That's the entity index, rigid body index. So when we delete an entity, we have the entity index. When we have the rigid body, we also need to get the rigid body index. In the same way that we get this guy. Yeah, I think. Okay, let's yeah, because these might not be the same. Yeah, I don't think these are going to be the same. These can't be the same. Okay, so... Oh, just a typo. But you swap the D and G in the rigid body. And oh, did I? Thank you for pointing that out. Oh, I did. Yes. That's that. Yeah, that's dyslexia at work right there. Rigid. Oh my goodness, I've lost what. How do you spell it? Rigid. Did. How do you spell rigid now? I might. I've completely forgotten how you spell this. G-I. Okay. G-I, right. So for the index, rigid. Oh yeah, you're right. Just making sure I'm changing the right thing to the right spelling. All right. GID. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing about my brain is like I sometimes see the letters exactly the same. It's my brain interprets as the same. It's a whole thing. D and B, P and 9, G and D. They all kind of look the same. It's like letter blindness. It's really strange. Okay, so rigid body. Oops. Rigid body index. Rigid. I'm going to change that as well, the local variable name. Rigid body data. Get rid of these. Change that. Rigid. Right. Okay, so based on that entity that we've put in, okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. I think this is, we're going in here when we shouldn't, I think. Don't you need to add to the queue destroy before you actually destroy an entity? Well, right now I'm not deleting it within the for loop, so I'm effectively doing that. There's no like and because it's host visible. Let me think if there's an issue with that. Actual dyslexic, but in denial. I don't know. I should change this as well. This is wrong. I don't think there's any issue, as far as I can tell. Rigid body array, data array. Okay, and you, rigid body data. Okay, so that's back to normal. So if I've done a delete swap, the position of the index that we get out is wrong. So what we actually need is the int 32 rigid body index. I don't think this is used anywhere else. And we need this to grab the rigid body index. Then we do this. Oh, it's the same variable. But is it? That's what I was trying to do, right? Rather than the entity index. These are going to be different. This might not do anything, but it's going to at least separate the entity index, which may not be solid. Oh. For better or worse. Yeah. Maybe put ray tracing in. I'm not at that point yet where I have to think about lighting too much. Okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff we need to fix. Rigid. Yeah, it's just poorly named stuff that's causing confusion. It's just turning into a bit of a refactor. Current rigid body. Rigid. So yeah, this is a non-rigid body. Rigid. Okay. That may be hilarious, but I think I shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be there. That's I may be hilariously on, but yes, you are. You're actually right. Yeah, that shouldn't be. So I'm letting things compile because it's easier to find compilation bugs sometimes. That way. Rigid body data. Alright, so I'm also going to rename this to rigid body data buffer, which is actually, I feel like this is the engine's starting to go through a bit of a root canal. At this moment in time, which is kind of interesting. Alright, so let's rerun this. Okay. So we don't want to see two things be deleted, and we do, and I think it's this. Hang on, I've got to do it a bit quicker to see the issue. So I'm just going to zoom out real quick. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so I didn't think that would fix it, but it has helped me understand this a bit better, because rigid bodies aren't necessarily entities. But we're falling into, this is the issue right here. This line. Yep. Invalid iterator indeed. But it's like there's multiple indices, so we've got multiple iterators, if that makes sense. So we've got the same error because we're falling into here when we shouldn't be. And I'm trying to figure out how to not do that. It's based on a delete swap. You know what might make sense? No, that's not going to make sense, I don't think. I think once we solve this, we're going to have to rewrite some code, like completely. Because at this moment in time, we're kind of stumbling over things. Well, I am. Not you guys. You would do better than me. Okay, so rigid body index. We need to get the correct rigid body index out of this entity. And because we've just fetched the entity, so all these now my problem is, right, I kind of want the entity that was created with this number, but if we've done a delete swap, we've actually got one less, so we can't just like say, oh actually the thing we care about is in a different index, so use this in this array to get the data we need. We might need to do something else completely. I think this entity index and this entity is not going to work. We need these separate, I think. We need like a separate, like another array. And that all that's going to keep in it is just how many things we're going to loop through. Let's try and think. Because here's the thing: we need to loop through. Right, we have entities. Then we need like. I think we need another array. I think we need another array that stores another layer of indirection. So we loop through everything. We delete whatever. What does it have in that array though? The entity index, maybe? Right, I'm gonna give you all a link to my you're cursing me for maroonering it. Oh no. Yeah. A link to the Discord server. Yes, so it is at least a 13 plus server, age wise. Yeah, there's something like that I need to do in, so I'm gonna throw that in there. And yeah, I'm gonna call it here, guys. Just because it's 5 o'clock more than anything. Which is when I usually end. I've had a fantastic stream. It's been a bit of a mind melter, to be honest. But I think what I'm going to try and have to do is I'm going to have to refactor these things and just think about my access patterns and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to work on. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you for turning up, and thank you for commenting, and anyone who's subscribed, and thank you for the people who've stuck around and who've been subscribed for a long time. It's always a pleasure to see the same names over and over again. It's really nice. So yeah, I will see you all hopefully soon. I hope you all have a good rest of the weekend if I don't see you beforehand. Yeah, I will see you then. Alright then. Take care, guys. See you around.